got your tea, I'm making some coffee for myself. And then
cycling the city, early May, it's shining bright. Wind blowing through my hair, sunshine fills my glass. Spring is taking over, peaceful, quiet, your golden lining, humble, thankful, I can't stop smiling.
So, hello and welcome to another episode of The Lick, the Zero to Jazz interview series. And it's actually really funny because our guest was before mentioned in another episode of The Lick. Maybe you remember a while back I was interviewing Daan Herweg, a great Dutch pianist. And he actually very shortly mentioned that he was writing a new album with a great Dutch vocalist, Anne Kris. And lo and behold, here she is right next to me because the album's almost finished. And welcome to The Lick, Anne Kris.
Hello.
Hi, nice that you're here, that you wanted to be here. And of course, we actually also played together and had a lot of fun last month while you were the special guest at our session. Yeah. Yeah, really cool. What are you up to right now? Because you're writing with Daan, I know. Of course,
yes,
and you're also recording, I think, already, right?
Yeah, we've been recording the past 2 weeks, and together with Daan, and I have a new band with Jasper van Hulten on drums and Casper Kalf on bass.
Oh, cool! I've played with him sometime. I think.
Okay, yeah. So and actually yesterday night we finished the last song. It's a cover, and that's with a great guitar player, Bas van der Wal.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And last year I've been co-writing like with Daan, and so he's he had a lot of great ideas for my songs. And we've actually also written a couple of songs from scratch, like with nothing, and then we created something new.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. How did you get to know Daan? Because did you know him before? Did you work with him? Or?
Yes, actually, I knew him already from school, from the Conservatory.
Because you studied here in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, in Amsterdam. Yeah.
No.
I knew him from the Conservatory. So, and then actually he replaced my piano player in my band a few times, and then he already offered me to help me with some writing. And so I had it in the back of my mind already for a few years, and then I started to visit his session in Nel in Amsterdam, and so I liked it as well. And then
that's great.
Yeah, and then I asked him actually to join me on a cruise, on a river cruise. So we had to sing, and he had to play a week in on a river cruise. So
cool.
So that was really great to get to know each other musically, and also like on a friendship. In
of course.
way. So and I liked it very much. So then we started to work together, and actually now the whole album we've really worked together.
Yeah. So, and are you sort of going in a new direction, or are you doing something? Because maybe to start at sort of where you started, because that's also of course always something that we talk about here. I know that you actually debuted before you actually had an album on the North Sea Jazz Festival, which is kind of sort of probably every person who plays jazz their dream. How did you do that? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's a funny story, because I only had a demo, and which was a pretty nice demo, but I didn't assume that I could play North Sea Jazz Festival with that based on that demo. But we actually with the Conservatory students, there was a sort of trip to Canada and to the IAJE, the International Association of Jazz Education. So there were a lot of people from the jazz industry, and also a promoter from a programmer from the North Sea Jazz Festival, and I gave him my demo. and not knowing that, you know,
it can happen.
Yeah. So that was a big surprise that I could play there. So
So you came fresh out of conservatory, and right away, like your first big gig was, well, I'll just do North Sea Jazz.
Yeah, I guess
nice.
it was.
It is possible. People at home making demos right now. It can happen. You know, this is the proof.
You just have to know the right person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah.
Was it?
So it was exactly 10 years ago in 2003. So I was actually calculating how old I was. I won't tell you, it's a secret. But so I just graduated, and it was really actually frightening because I was really nervous, and but I think it went well. I don't have a recording of that.
Really? I was just going to ask, is there a recording? Because we'll work it into the interview, of
there
course.
There are some pictures.
Nice. Oh, well, maybe we'll put some of the pictures in there.
Yeah.
But where did you, do you remember in which, because it's actually this weekend is the North Sea Jazz Festival, it's actually tomorrow it starts, so it's kind of a coincidence, so it actually was really 10 years ago to the day probably.
Yeah.
Do you still know in which hall you were? Do you remember?
Yeah, we played in the Spiegeltent. So
the outside, the big
kind of circus
nice.
Thing. Yeah.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
And how did you, because that's how you came out of school and had a sort of a great running start, I imagine. Yeah. But how did you get involved with music and then, of course, at some point made the decision to really be a musician and to really go for that? How did that happen?
Actually, it was a sort of process, of course, but not really consciously.
Well, not a very short one.
Yeah. But actually, from when I was very little, I already started to sing, and actually, really like a cliche, but I started to sing like when I was asleep, you know.
Like this,
before I went to sleep, I started to sing and sort of lull myself to sleep, or
really,
if you can say that. And and later on, when I was 13, I got my first singing lessons, and I started to really get into singing. And but before that, my father actually motivated me immensely to
cool.
You be musical, like.
Was he a musician also, your dad, or?
My dad is not a professional musician, but he created, like he wrote music his whole life. So he started when he was 13 with his first song, and he plays guitar. So I guess he has like written more than 300 songs or
Whoa,
so. Yeah. And also children's songs, but also like I call them adult songs, you know, with English lyrics. So I found that really interesting.
Oh wow!
So I started to sing actually with him. So he accompanied me, and so that was really motivating. And actually, I know to come back to your question, I know exactly the day and time, the moment that I decided, I really want to be a professional with music, because I was 15, and then I sang a song with my father's band, because my father had his own repertoire, and so I was in the cafe and with the singer of his band, and, putting makeup on and really getting excited. So, and then I did this song, and I was really in seventh heaven. I was so happy, and I remember I drove back on my bike. I want to be a singer. Yes. It's like this.
Wow. So, and what did your dad say? Was he like really happy? Like, I got her to go there, or was he like, how did he react?
Yeah, I think he really liked the idea, and my mother as well. They both were really happy for me that I knew what I wanted, and actually they never helped me from that decision.
No, of course. That's great. You know, as opposed to a lot of people who, of course, have it happen very differently. Do you actually still also play a lot with your dad, like for fun, or?
Well, actually, that's.
Or is it not like, hey, Dad, sorry, but?
No, it's a side step. But actually, last year I also made. Recorded a CD with my father with children's songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool!
So he wrote children's songs for me when I was little, and as a present, I thought, well, it's good for his birthday, like to encourage him to to record these songs. So
Wow.
actually they're quite popular. So
Really? Oh wow,
so,
cool.
it's
What's the name of that album?
Vogeltje zing maar.
Ah, okay. Oh, I saw that on your website also.
Little bird sing.
Nice. Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
How cool.
So that's what we did. But further we don't actually perform together.
No, of
but
course.
we recorded the CD. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and maybe at home, like my dad drums, so whenever I'm at home with my dad, I always have to get out the sax.
Well, he's
and play
still
something.
actually writing songs, so sometimes he's playing for me.
Yeah, does he also get involved in your writing? Do you like sometimes take your song like that? What do you think about this?
No, I'm really. Hoe zeg je dat eigenwijs?
I wouldn't even know what that's in Dutch, but sort of stubborn, or have your own.
So I don't want my dad to help me. No, I'm doing it myself. Yeah.
Okay, really. Now, is it like part of your process to really sort of go that your own? Because that's, I can totally relate to that also.
No, it's not part of that actually, because I already had that in the very first beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But it's aside from that, it's really important for me actually to find my own. Of course, for everybody,
that's what I mean.
My own sound, or especially after the conservatory when you because I did the jazz. Vocal. I studied at the jazz vocal department, and
I want to come back to that also a bit later.
Yeah, it was nice, but okay.
No, because actually we can go into it right now. Because you went to conservatory, of course, after. Did you go straight from the middle school to the conservatory? Or
actually, I was really ambitious because I started when I was 15 already. I auditioned in Alkmaar on the conservatory, and I studied there for 3 years, and then I auditioned in the Hilversum Conservatory. I did there a couple of years, and then I went to Amsterdam. So actually, I was 18, 19 when I was in Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why did you leave the different conservatories to go here? Were you just moving, or?
No, actually, in Alkmaar it was great, but I really wanted to go to Hilversum because in that time that was the main conservatory for jazz, and there were a lot of really good teachers for vocal vocalists. So and in the end, Hilversum merged with Amsterdam Singing Conservatorium. So that's why I went to Amsterdam. Yeah.
And did you like it? Did you love that school? How was your experience?
Yeah, I loved it, and it was. More challenging than Alkmaar because the level was higher, so it was a bit. I got a bit nervous sometimes, but in the end, I really loved it. And So, but the downside from a conservatory is that of course it's a system, and you have a certain levels that you have to reach. So. In the end, when I look back, I would really prefer a conservatory that's more free to find your own sound. And actually, funny enough, when I auditioned, people already told me, because there's always people who tell you, don't go to conservatory because you will lose your own sound or your own originality. And then I thought, wow, bullshit.
That's actually very interesting, because it keeps returning in the different conversations that I'm having with people. And I actually talked with Ernst Viggo Sandbeck, the director of the conservatory in Oslo, because we were in Norway for another episode of The Hat. And their conservatory is actually much more that way. So because I was having a conversation with him, and he actually said, well, I can't teach students too much to go this way or that way, or this is old fashioned or whatever. And me and Angelique, we were there together, we were both like, really?
Yeah.
And
I totally agree.
Yeah, so on the one hand you hear a lot about Amsterdam, that it's a really good conservatory, and the technical skill that people achieve there is very high and very good. But as far as the sort of losing your soul or thing, that I often hear that story that people who come out of it need sort of 2-3 years to sort of find their soul back after they've gone through the whole experience,
Yeah, that's not good. No, it shouldn't be like that.
I mean, on the one hand, I kind of understand. I had a few conversations also with Arnold Dooyeweerd, the bassist, about it, and I spoke to some of the other teachers at different, gigs where they were playing, and sort of told them also about the conversations that I'm having. And I think it's also something very at some point it's also conscious. They know that they just, hitting this technical capability in you, and then 2-3 years later, then you really start to use that technical capability and sort of find your soul. But it's a bit like the army, you have to go through the whole drilling period of a year in order to get there. But I mean, personally, I feel much more also that way that you're saying, like, could be more exploratory or these different things. But I guess that's like a conscious choice that they made.
And I think you should totally reverse everything or break down the system and build it. But now it's like this, so I understand that they have to do this in a certain way.
Did you also start performing, like right after that moment when you were 15 and you had your first performance? Did that like spark your own band? And did you like?
Well, actually, before that, I already joined. It still exists, a Dutch competition. It's like a cultural competition, music, and art and theater.
Which one?
A Kunstbende.
Ah, okay.
You know that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I joined Kunstbende together with two of my best friends. They are sisters, and one of them sang, and the other one sang and played the guitar. So 3 girls singing and a guitar.
Oh, okay, nice.
How nice. So and we sang one of our own song and songs from my father. We sang. And then in the third time we joined, then we got to the final in Vredenburg in Utrecht in the big theater. So I already was doing those kind of things, and afterwards, so I played in the Conservatory, because I was admitted. Yeah. And but I didn't have a regular band actually. And not yet, and I was really willing to have a band, and I was really asking everybody. But in the end, it just came naturally. Because that's the biggest advantage, I think, from the Conservatory, that you get to know people and really get to know good playing people. That's.
Did you experiment a lot also in Conservatory with different styles? Because now of course you did jazz, so obviously you were playing a lot of jazz.
Well,
but did you step out and like try some hard rock or death metal or anything else crazy?
Will you see me singing death metal?
Well, I think it would be nice. Some black mascara and some pink hair.
No, the only different style aside from jazz was like Brazilian music.
Okay.
José Koning and Fidel Keramatali, like the
I play with her almost every week. She's such a great piano player.
Great.
Oh,
yeah,
it's amazing.
So we learned like to sing and bossa and samba, and very nice. I really loved that. Nice. I also recorded a Brazilian song on my first CD.
Cool.
From Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she plays often things. Fidel actually plays often also things.
Yeah. Cool. So, but I've never like death metal.
And you did also play with Tineke, right? Because that was actually funny. She's actually one of my saxophone teachers.
Really?
Yeah, which is really a big coincidence.
That's
I was
nice.
reading, I was like checking out some things. I was like, and because she's also on your first album with 2 songs, I was like, well, that's such a coincidence.
Yeah, and on my second album and on this album as well.
As well? Oh, really? Oh, nice. Well, say hi for me to her if you speak to her. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, she was already like on my end exam. She also joined.
Cool. Yeah. What were for you a bit? Because of course the Conservatory, well, there's a lot of challenges there. But what were for you some interesting challenges that you ran into? Going from the little girl just having fun singing, and of course then in the details it's probably quite everywhere. What were some things that you ran into, and how did you sort of come over those things and really develop yourself towards the professional singer that you are now?
One of the disadvantages from singing lessons are that you are so aware of some things that you overdo them and that you start forcing or So actually, when I was getting singing lessons at the Conservatory, I had a few vocal problems. Actually, just one. Like my I got hoarse sometimes, very quickly, and it was because I didn't know exactly how to use my breath support in a proper way, and so I got. So during the preliminary year, I received speech therapy. and it got a lot better. But during the conservatory, I stayed a bit insecure about my technique. So and I only actually overcame this problem when I finished conservatory.
Yeah, and you were at North Sea there, and you were, well, this is probably okay.
Yeah, well, still, actually, yeah. It of course is also a mental thing, because when you worry about it, then you become already a bit like tensed. So, so in the end, after the conservatory, I got really good singing lessons. Yeah, it sounds a bit strange, but yeah. And then I got some eye openers. Oh, it's like this.
Can you mention a few of them? Because actually, I have singing lessons now for about 4 or 5 months or something, and it's such an eye opener for a lot of things. But I'm very curious to see what
I did a couple of workshops with the one I loved the most was from Catherine Sadelin, and she has a book. She wrote a book, and it's called Complete Vocal Technique. So CVT. So that's the abbreviation. And
check that out, vocalists.
And she's really a nice person. She sang rock and opera and all kinds of styles, and she was just curious how does the voice work when you do like the different sounds. So she wrote a book, and she actually divided the voice in volume, like styles, like it's like a medium, soft, and really loud.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's not complete in a detail, but in general.
Yeah.
And she has a really clear way to explain how you should use the breath support. So that's
cool. And that really helped you also to sort of straighten that out and really get your power as far as that is concerned. To avoid like the constriction here when you're singing. Cool. Yeah, were there other things where you were really like, wow, that's such an aha moment? It's very interesting for the people at home, it's like because I can actually relate to this very well because I just started it myself, and there's so many people, of course, who sing, and maybe if you have a nice voice, it sounds kind of nice, but there's such a difference between just sounding nice and really finishing every word precisely, and all these sort of details that really set the professional singers very much apart from people who are just singing for fun. Not that there's anything wrong with the singing for fun, but there's really a difference between a vocalist and someone who's just singing, and there's very. So, what were some things that you?
I heard that a lot, but I didn't really experience it myself, and so everybody said like you have to be physical. When you're singing, of course your vocal cords make the sound. They're vibrating and it comes out. But actually, the whole control is here, and even it's not really literally, but your toes are important. So your whole how you're standing and so that's very important. So actually, since I've been doing like yoga, my breath became better because you're more, of course, when you're doing all these poses, you have to stay calm. And so that's good to stay calm during your performance, for example, and to keep your breath low. So that's it. And so you just asked me what was another point, like. So yoga is very important to do that, because then you get stronger muscles, and your your belly muscles are very important, and also your intercostal muscles are very important. And aside from that, it's very important to not over breathe. Like sometimes I took a lot of breath because I thought, wow, yes, I have to make a long sentence, but you shouldn't. You can just take a little breath and then really use your breath support.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the most important.
Yeah, and you'll take enough, I think also. Like this is something that I noticed because then as soon as you take lessons, you'll get nervous. This is always like when you're just doing it, you're just doing it and you're not thinking about it. But as soon as you get lessons, you get kind of critical and you think, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
And then indeed you get moments like that where you're like really focusing on something during a performance where you really shouldn't. You know, that's always a difficult thing. But how did that, because this is of course more of a technical thing, which I think is interesting because we can't go into it here, so I love to just go into those things.
Yeah.
But did you also, in addition to that, really like develop yourself outside of the technique, just getting experience? Because of course you went to conservatory, but did you start running sessions and doing all those different things?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, like probably you know him, like René van Beek, the bass player and singer and bugle player.
Yeah.
He's organizing a lot of sessions, and weekly session on Monday in Café Brix in Amsterdam. But he's doing that already for like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
So, and I know him from when I was little, like from when I was 13. Coincident, because I used to play violin as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I forgot that. So,
nice.
yeah, from when I was 9 until I was 15 or something.
Okay, cool.
So that's very important too, you know.
Yeah. Do you still sometimes
develop
do it,
your ear? No. No, I still have the violin, but
covered under a layer of dust.
Yeah, it's a pity. Yeah. But so I got to know him like more than 20 years ago already. Wow. And I actually helped him. It was before the internet area with posters and things. And I went to a lot of sessions actually that he organized.
Yeah. Do you still remember what you started on? What songs you sang when you started?
Well, not exactly, but I remember that I used to love to sing the song "Angel Eyes."
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you still know it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Can you play it a bit?
Yeah, I can. I can try.
I think that's nice. Let's try that. It'd be nice.
Shall we try it? Okay.
Try to think that love's not around. Still it's uncomfortably near. My old heart ain't gaining no ground, because my angel eyes ain't here. Angel eyes that old and scent, they grow unbearably bright. Need I say that my love's misspent with angel eyes tonight? So drink up, you happy people, order anything you see. Have fun, you happy people. The drink and the laughs on me. Pardon me, but I've got to run. The facts uncommonly clear. I've got to find out who's now his number one, and why my angel eyes ain't here, and why my angel eyes ain't here. Excuse me while I
So that's Angel Eyes. It is really nice. Did you ever record that also, or?
No, this was the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, well, there are some YouTube films,
versions.
Because I
nice.
was in India actually on the Dutch jazz expedition.
Cool.
With a lot of really great musicians.
Jazz people go everywhere. This is a
so there are some actually YouTube movies on which I play, like Summertime and Angel Eyes.
Yeah, I actually saw some YouTube clips of your new album also that you made with Dan.
Yeah.
Really nice, because the new album is called Just Kiss the Sun, right?
Yeah, Just Kiss the Sun.
Cool. Now, and do you know when it's going to be out actually?
Well, we plan to release it in October.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. And is it? Can you talk a bit about your development as a musician? Because this is your third album now. Going through the albums, and of course developing as a musician, going from that 15-year-old girl that's just getting started and is all excited, to where the effort involved to really sort of get there and to write an album and all these things. Yeah. Can you talk a bit about that journey and of the things that you've learned, and especially maybe things that other musicians, of course, that are watching this, can also take away some of the things that you've learned from that whole process. Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, what I think is the most important is to surround yourself with good players. Yeah, that's very important, because surround yourself with people who know more than you, so you can hoe zeg je dat?
Have the benefits of their experience and learn from them. Yeah, was that something that maybe in the beginning you didn't do right away?
No, I did it right away. So that was a good thing. But aside from, of course, surrounding yourself with good players and good people, you should also be aware that you stick to your own ideas and things, because that's sometimes hard. And I'm really open for all kind of ideas. But sometimes you also have to say, no, I will stick to this, and I like this, And sometimes it's also part of the process. Then you think, when you look back, oh, maybe I shouldn't have
stuck to your guns too much there, or
sometimes there's a part in a song and a certain band member thinks, oh, you can erase that, and then I thought, well, okay. And in the end, you can doubt that decision. But it's also great, the song is great, and I'm happy with that. So you have to be more self-assured about your own ideas.
Was that something that you also ran into at some points? That when you're creating something, or when you're writing and you're writing with different people, that I know some people who really got into fights over with people that they were doing. Have you ever experienced things like that, or where you really want to get out of it? Or
no, not at all. No, it's it's more a struggle within me, that I'm really open. Like I told you, I'm open for new ideas. But you can be too open, and then you start to doubt everything. But maybe that's just part of me, or part of being creative. Because if you know everything, it has to be like this. Then you cannot be creative.
No, that's true.
So it's a journey.
And are there things that you're doing now that you weren't doing in the beginning, or where you're with this album where you're paying particular attention to, where you're saying, well, I really want to get this right, or I want to get into these details, or?
I paid a lot of attention to the lyrics as well, and I wrote them actually. I started to write myself, and then I actually so I started to work also with Dan. So we also had a great ideas. So I'm really happy with that, and so at first I wrote lyrics, but not really consciously, not just also about the English that I didn't really I let them check, they've been checked by people, but not like by artistic people, so and all the songs on the album, actually, especially the melodies, they were already there, and then I went to other musicians, and I also had the chords already, and then they adjust. Hoe zeg je dat? Then they added their ideas. So that's actually a good point that you have to be patient. Like write your own things, and when it's time, you show them to other people,
and then you get them involved.
Yeah. So that you're really sure of what you've written.
Yeah.
And
do you compose? Because you mentioned you have a piano at your house, so you compose on piano mostly.
Yeah.
And are you like maybe not always, but are you someone who I always like? I'm just plucking around and I find some chords that I like, and then I start maybe writing some lyrics or some melodies or whatever. Do you have like also a process where usually you start with a melody in your head or something like that? Can you talk a bit about how that goes for you?
It's every time it's different, but there's one example with the song "Tomorrow Is Today" that I've written that like 9 years ago.
That's also the title of your first album, right?
Yeah, first album. Yeah. I wrote that actually on the bike because I used to work at the box office in the Bimhuis.
Ah, okay.
In the old Bimhuis, you know.
Yeah.
And,
nice.
And I biked home, and then there was a tourist who was just talking, and I heard him say, "Well, tomorrow is today." Because it was already after 12 at midnight.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Then I started, "Tomorrow is today, and yeah, I just actually wrote the chorus of the song.
Cool.
And so it first starts with usually it starts with the melody and some kind of lyrics, you know, and then I go to the piano and find some chords with that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I really am in a sort of I have to write mood, and then I just. I'm just sitting at the piano. I really feel, and I really just let my fingers go.
Yeah, is that a very
then
important?
Something starts.
Yeah. Is that like a very important process for you? Are you like writing all the time and always?
No, I'm not writing all the time because actually. So the last year I've been writing, but together with someone else. So we have actually we actually been busy with finishing songs. So of course you're also writing, but it feels a bit like working, you know. You're working hard. And so the first spark of inspiration, that's of course very nice because you feel like I'm doing something, you know, and I'm being creative, and then the work starts. And you cannot. I'm not always like in a creative mood, and so. I think maybe in a few months I will be again, because then my head is free of all these songs I've been writing.
Yeah. How many songs are now on the new album?
11 are original songs and 2 covers.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 11 original songs. That's that's quite a few.
Quite a few.
Quite a few things to finish.
Yeah.
Is that also? I asked this all the vocalists, of course, especially the ones that are writing their own lyrics. Is it also maybe hard for you to sort of, because it's usually quite personal. I mean, I don't know how personal your songs are, but usually they're personal in some way at least. To sort of let that go and have other people hear them and comment on them, or maybe your friends, or I mean, obviously not everyone will know exactly what they're about. But how do you deal with that? Is that something that comes easy for you, or is it a bit scary, or how do you experience that?
In the beginning, when a song is first freshly finished, then it's sometimes a bit emotional. That's a bit too much, but it can be emotional. And a couple of songs actually are sort of dedications to my stepdad, and so it's a sort of so that's it's called Alphabet of You. So that's So
actually, that's on the new album, right? Yeah. I think I saw that in one of your new videos. I think, right?
Yeah,
that's really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Maybe we can work a little bit of that into so people can hear it here. But so that's
like a never ever ending tune.
that's you don't have a lot of trouble with letting that go, or.
What do you mean with letting that go?
Well, I was talking to Celine, for example, who is also, of course, is just really more over on the singer-songwriter sort of music. But she's like all her songs. She told me, like, every time I break up with a boyfriend, everybody says, "Well, let's wait for the new CD to come," because it's always all about that. Yeah. Which of course is one way to go about it. But it's really funny that all her friends are always guessing, like, oh, there's probably a song coming on, and we're all gonna know what it's about. Yeah. And of course that is kind of personal, and it's quite different from what most people who of course keep their most precious feelings inside, whereas with vocalists especially, usually they find some way into lyrics. Yeah, but because it's in a song, I'm not. Yeah, apart from when it's freshly finished, and I feel a bit like vulnerable, but after that I really enjoy. I'm really happy that I'm able to express myself in the song. I really also need it. Yeah. So cool. I'm not. Yeah, I'm okay with it. You mentioned, of course, the Brazilian sounds, which are definitely have found their way into your music. But are there also other sounds that you're sort of experimenting with?
I guess so, because especially Daan is also very fond of. Robert Glasper, he made also with Gretchen Parlato. So and that's a combination of also Latin, but also like sort of R&B hip hop groove. So it is a combination between like heavy sounding slow beats. They're all like acoustically played together with a. Not like an R&B sounding singer, but I'm not an R&B singer, but like a sort of jazzy way of singing. Yeah. So it's a light way of singing and with a heavy beat. But not every song is like this. But so that's kind of new.
Cool. Cool. Is it also something that you were really searching for, or trying to mix that? Because a lot of people are mixing beats and break beats and different sounds with jazz, which is really nice. It's really quite fresh.
It's just because of my musical background. I used to listen a lot to. Actually, my parents listened to Stevie Wonder and. An album that's called Inner Visions, and really fond about that that CD. And it's actually Stevie Wonder is an example, and especially that album of mixed styles, because it's really jazzy, especially the chords and what I love about it are all the kind of like a different. Lines, you have
Stevie's the king of mixing everything, and and of course also mixing chords and doing interesting harmonic things always with him. Yeah, and so actually, because Daan produced the album together with me, and he asked me when we started working, like, what kind of music do you like? Like really a basic question, and why do you like it? So the main thing about what I liked was like the grooviness and the a nice bass line, and so there are not really like ballads on the album. Okay. Maybe only one. Yeah. So you being a vocalist, of course, so this is extra interesting for all the vocalists that are watching. Do you have, looking at your own path and your own development as a vocalist, maybe some tips or some waypoints where you're saying, well, these are just really important things to do, for people who are thinking about developing themselves into, a professional vocalist. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, it sounds a bit cliche maybe, but it's really important to stick to your own voice. So first of all, find your own quality. What's your quality? And so that's the way, because I'm a vocal teacher as well. So that's the way I'm teaching. So for example, when a student is singing very nasal, so through their nose, it's okay, but I really think it's important to let them know you're singing nasal, but can you also get rid of the nasality? So that you're not just singing, but knowing that you are singing like this, and But I'm not saying you have to sound open or you cannot sound nasal, because I'm not like that. So because a lot of famous singers or successful singers are really recognizable. They're really that's Ella Fitzgerald, or that's
Louis Armstrong, for example.
Yeah, or Céla Sue, that singer from Belgium.
Yeah, great.
So. And she's not singing in a technical, correct way.
I actually saw her the first time in the same stage that you were playing at North Sea.
Yeah.
Nice. No, but is that also because it's quite interesting, like finding your voice? Difficult thing to do, of course. Did that go easily for you? Did you very naturally gravitate towards sort of the style and the sort of voice that you're now using and singing, or did you also like really have to find where your strengths lie?
I guess so, and also just sometimes failing, like trying out things. And I've also been singing in all kind of cover bands, and really working your voice, like singing 4 sets an evening, and being tired, and the next day your voice maybe sounds a bit low, or and also not being afraid to use it. Just use it, because like I told you, like when I was 19, I got so insecure that I was tense, and I didn't dare to use it, and and go to sessions a lot, and also.
What did that teach you? The sessions, like, did you?
That's an important thing. So be a failure sometimes, Because when you're on a session, of course things go wrong, but then you learn from it. And and what I think is also what I learn my students is what I teach them is it's really important to communicate with your musicians. It sounds also but it's not that. Not every singer is aware of that.
No, exactly.
You have to be friendly, they're there to sound you, make you sound well, I mean,
that's
when
very
everything
true.
is
Very true. Especially for singers, really, there are courses, I think, in it, but it's true. It's really a thing for singers to, get to really communicate with the band. Yeah. It's not something that always comes so naturally.
No, and that's what I'm struggling with even now. Like, find the right tempo. Wow, that's hard. Really take your time to set the tempo before the band starts.
And of course, as you mentioned, failing, which is. Did you have some like really nice, great fails, or maybe one that you can talk about? Because fails are great, for musicians. You learn so much. I actually had one with you. Well, not while we were on stage together, but when we were opening the set, it was so like one of my biggest vocal fails actually, where the first song, like I know that from sense memory, fine, because I've sung it quite a few times. Yeah. But our piano player for the Zero to Jazz band likes to sort of throw in chords that aren't quite in there, because he's really like an artsy-fartsy player, which is fine. But for some reason he hit a chord right before I started singing, which screwed me up that I was like, oh damn it, I lost it, and he didn't give me a note or anything. So the first 3 lines was just me, waving it out and looking where it was, and I was really like, oh my god, and I was listening to it back, was like, well, it wasn't quite out of key, but it wasn't quite there, and it's those moments where you think, oh yeah, when it's the first song, get it, because normally I never get a note. I always just trust the fact that my ears will find it. But for the first song, that just taught me, if you're opening on the first song, get a note so you're absolutely sure.
Yeah, you can just ask the piano player, or guitar player, like, can you give me
and these things are great.
With on the top note, you're
exactly.
Note.
Exactly. So do you have some nice
fails? It's just the tempo thing, actually. Yeah. That you count off, but you're really nervous, so you count off too fast or too slow. Then you have to sing the whole song really too slow. So, but then you have to stick to that. Yeah. So that's also an important thing.
Did you have that often, where you like really start too fast, and that you like?
No, not. I don't. Well. I don't particularly have an example of that, but what is also important to not stop. because I've done that like during the performances on the Conservatory in the Alkmaar.
Yeah.
But I said, oh no, that's the wrong tempo. You can do that, but actually you should be professional already. Even though you are not a professional, just stick to that and just keep on singing and not pretending, but just No, then it's too slow.
Sticking with it and just going.
Yeah, because the majority of the people won't notice it when you don't show it.
And it's fine if you go faster. It's just harder,
Yeah. That's true.
Of course.
Yeah.
And going more towards your philosophy, because I always ask, like, is there some philosophy alongside which you're trying to grow and cultivate yourself more as a musician, as a human being? I mean, it's a broader question.
Yeah.
But can you talk a bit about that? How you are developing yourself, and if you have some sort of philosophy behind that? Can you talk about that a bit?
Well, I don't know if it's a philosophy, but my aim is to stay true to myself when I'm performing. So to show myself in a musical way. So I like to write like personal lyrics. We've been talking about that already, and to really be open while you're singing, while you're performing. So. So you can try to do that too. So I'm practicing yoga, so to stay peaceful while performing, so that you're not distracted by people or by thoughts in your head. So then you are able to really stay in the moment and be focused and really express yourself. And then the message, the musical message, hopefully comes through. And then something can happen also. Like in an interaction, musical interaction with the band, and really, when you're quiet yourself, you can let the music flow. Let the music flow. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And is that because you're giving me some ideas actually here? I mean, living as a musician, that might be interesting, I think, because you're really, living as a full-time musician. So that's really cool, I think, to hear a bit about that, because it's so different from, the life that, of course, most people live. But also, actually, because you mentioned the crowd and, sort of that whole zone. And have you learned some interesting things about that? Because crowds and standing in front of them, and as we mentioned, you've been at North Sea, but you've also been at some other larger venues and played for some big crowds. Can you talk a bit about that? About some things that maybe you've learned there or seen there or had happen that really made you think, and how you relate to that? Because that's also, I think, also a thing.
Yeah, it depends on the occasion. I've played also in the Bimhuis, and sometimes I have the tendency to hoe zeg je dat? I have the tendency to break the tension, to say, hi, I'm here. You can do that, but sometimes you should not do that, and just keep the tension and just start singing and don't say anything. But when you're in a really big crowd, then you sometimes have to do that, to break the ice or something. But you have to, it depends, So sometimes I've made mistakes, and I think, I shouldn't have said that. And sometimes I think, I should have said something, then you get a connection with the audience. So but you have to be conscious about that. I'm still learning.
Were you kind of good with that from the start, or were you at first? You already mentioned that you get a bit nervous, but are you getting more easier now that it's going, or is it still?
It's still like that. It's still the case that I like to sing more than to talk for people. I'm really at ease when I'm singing, and I'm really I'm enjoying myself. And then I have to talk, and then it's I can talk, I know. But so, but I'm still learning. So it's getting better and better. It used to be, I used to be very shy. I didn't dare to talk, and now I'm just like this. Okay,
Cool.
I'm okay with it.
Do you notice a difference with the crowds when you're singing something that's your own personal song and like a standard?
Yes. Yes, I'm very happy with that, because most of the time people really respond well to my own songs. Because and even though they don't know them, but probably I have a certain different way of singing when I'm singing my own songs.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. Your voice is really nice, and the way you sing, and the sort of the type of lyrics that you use really fits. So as far as the coming from you, I think you're doing that really well. But I was more intending the question actually because I was talking to Marjolein van der Heijden, who's also a vocalist, and we were talking a bit about some different things, and she mentioned actually that when she sings a standard, no matter where, how, she's never nervous. But whenever she's singing something that is her own song, somehow it's different, and then she's much more. Is that something that I was just kind of curious, is that something that you also experience?
No, I don't know. Well, I think I'm more free with a jazz song because I've sung that like 1,000 times, and I'm really
comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm used to improvise on that song. Yeah. And in my own songs, I don't treat them like jazz standards. You know what I mean? Of course. Not yet. Maybe when I've sung them 1,000 times, I will be more free. But I'm not more nervous when I sing my own songs.
Okay. Cool. And okay, then going back to what I mentioned earlier, living as a musician, because that's of course a very different life from what most of us live. Can you talk a bit about that? About how that? Because obviously, I mean, when you were studying, you probably had odd jobs, and you worked at the BIM house you mentioned. Yeah. But slowly on, you really became a musician. How's that going? And what did you learn from that and that transition?
Well, it's so hard to be a musician. No, but sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not hard. So it has a really a good part of it that you're really free to program your day. You can. You can sleep long in the morning if you want.
Yeah. And if you're up late, you have to.
So that's nice, but it's also at the same time the downside because you have to get up in the morning because you say to yourself, you have to do something. So there's no one who's telling you to do something. So to have some. Structure, thank you. Is that I'm doing yoga a lot, so 2 or 3 times a week. I'm just doing it at my home, and I have my students. So and furthermore, I'm doing these gigs with a lot of different bands. And but the hardest thing I think is to actually to sell yourself, sell your product, not yourself. But I don't sell my soul.
No, but in a way you are. I mean, that's of course always the things with musicians, vocalists or other. It is really hard to sort of productize yourself. I mean, that's not really what you want to do. You just want to play or want to do something. But there always, when it becomes your livelihood, then there is some part of it that you have to sort of think about, and you have to have someone design a website and all these sort of things. Of course, start happening.
Yeah. But it's I'm getting there. You know, it's still sometimes.
You like it? Is it something that you have problems with, or is it hard for you? I mean, some people are like really comfortable with it. Others are like,
Well, I'm not really comfortable with it. I would prefer to have someone who is picking up the telephone and said, "Hey, nice CD." I don't like that. No.
Yeah. But you're getting there.
I have to. So with help from several people, luckily, I don't have to do it all by myself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Cool.
Of course, there's Facebook.
Yeah. Nowadays we have Facebook, so that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course, the very typical lick part of the interview. Have you brought something cool, some exercise or something to pass on to the viewers, which they can maybe use to quote you, or they can learn something from?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a typical lick or something that I use, but I have a sort of actually a vocal exercise that you can do everywhere. People would stare at you probably when you do it outside, but it doesn't matter. It's actually an exercise to train your or to warm up your voice in a really easy way, and it's good for your breath support. So actually, when you're not able to do it well, then your breath support probably isn't really working.
Oh, okay.
So first of all, you should breathe out, like and then breathe in. Not too much, like this. And doesn't matter actually what you do exactly, but just go through your whole range.
Yeah.
Just with this sound.
Okay.
So and then during the sound, you feel that your muscles at your belly are tensing, you know, and actually, so your hoe zeg je dat?
Your sides, your flanks.
Yeah. So your flanks should stay wide, and your belly goes in. So that's actually what's happening.
Yeah.
And so that's in this way you're training your best breath support. And when it doesn't work, because I don't know if you can do it properly. Yeah, because you're also a saxophone player. So
yeah, my breath support is kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And
we should do this together actually at the same time. I mean,
sexy.
that'd be like, you know.
So, and when it doesn't work, because some students aren't able to do it, you can do like this, because that helps.
Oh yeah, they can push the sides together.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, okay.
yeah,
That's nice. I wonder if that actually works for saxophone students. I could use it to have them feel. I have them stand on their head actually.
Oh, okay.
That works really well. Like if you don't feel, like some people just don't feel the. Well, that's first of all, of course, they always say, you know, breathe from your belly, but you really can't because the lungs stop here. But it's the intestines that get sort of pressed together from the fact that your diaphragm, which goes like through as a sheet, like right through your body, comes down. So that's why your belly has to sort of. Well, I'm too tall, so mine doesn't really come out, but it just stiffens up a bit. But when you stand on your head, because it never has to work against gravity.
Okay, yeah.
Then you really feel it.
Oh,
so if you ever like really, if you really want to feel your diaphragm, stand on your hands against the wall, and then breathe in a few times, and then you'll really feel the muscle go. So that's also a nice tip to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, so we can use that to warm up our voices. Okay, well then I always ask, let's finish this musically. And maybe, do you have something like from your new album which you could give us a little preview of?
Yeah, I could do a preview from Mirror Man.
Okay.
Let's see.
Telling you I don't need to hear your excuse. I think I know where you're going. I have been there before. It isn't hard to see. You'd love to love me, but the mirror man says no excuse. The mirror man says cut it loose.
What I'd like to tell you is go out there. Don't stay in your practice room, but show yourself, go to sessions and enjoy the music.
So this is really exclusive. We just followed Anna Chris into the studio with Daan because actually they had an appointment right after the interview. So we're getting a very little preview of the album that's actually coming up right now. This is Daan Herweg, famous from the other Zero to Jazz, the Lick interview. Yes.
We're going to listen to the takes and judge ourselves.
Yes.
What's the best one?
Exactly.
Yes.
Take one. Well, actually it's 5, but...
Take 5.
Take 5.
Yes.
With a little notebook here. Yep, there it is. Here we go.
This is no movie, no TV show, no clear out saying
fairy tale song that could